Today, we're going to do an instructional video on how to build a Mogul course. We're going to use a method that we learned many years ago from US Freestyle Team coach Scott Rawls. Before you ever consider building a course, one of the most important things is you have to have permission from your ski area and the ski patrol. We've got Michael here.
Hey guys, how you doing? Here's the stuff you asked for.
These are the kind of signs you're going to use to close off the course. And this is the rope that we use to close the outside. Once again, get permission before you ever consider building a course. First off, pick some terrain that's going to be beneficial to the group that's going to be training on it. This is the slope that we've chosen to use. It's a blue run, but it's got a nice steep pitch. If possible, choose a run where you've got man-made snow that's been recently groomed. This will make your course much more consistent. One of the first things you want to do is put up a closure rope. You need to secure your area before you build your course to make it safe while you're building, and you're going to have this area closed while you're training. Yep. So what we're doing here is we're measuring out the spacing between our different lines. We kind of like our course about 6 feet between bumps, okay? One thing that's critical when you're laying this out is the center lines or the lines that are going to share a bump really need 2 markers. The markers we use are 24-inch pieces of poly, more or less, okay? It's 1-inch poly pipe. The reason we use this is because we don't pull our markers out for training purposes. It helps you work with students to figure out where they're going to have the crest of the bump. They can visualize that. Another great thing is that when the light is flat, or if your course is an area that might get shady, it's amazing what this poly does for visibility. Now, once again, our spacing is about 6 feet. We put 2 markers on the shared bump. I just randomly spaced this a boot width apart. The key is if you only put in one, you're going to end up with a very small diamond-shaped bump. If you just spread these apart about a foot, you end up with a nice round bump. So first you're going to want to get a rope that's the length of your course. We're going to mark this rope with pieces of tape, the spacing of the bumps left and right down that rope. And that's going to be how far your bumps are going to be down the hill. It's going to go right in the middle of one of your middle lines. It's going to be, once again, about 3 feet from the bumps, and it's going to go right down the center of that run. This is going to mark the distance down the hill for each bump. We vary our spacing between like 3 and maybe 4 meters. So we've got 2 colored pieces of tape on there. Black and silver is what we use. And if we feel like making the course a little bit more challenging, we might switch to a little bit longer spacing and then tighten it back up to make it interesting. We've got our centerline rope laid out. I used this piece of bamboo to figure out my lateral spacing. Once again, like we mentioned before, the space between bumps side to side is going to be about 6 feet. So I put some pieces of tape on a piece of bamboo to mark, one, where my rope's going to be. That's I'm just going to lay it on here. And where that first piece of poly is going to go. I did one more little mark here, which is once again about my boot length, to mark the spacing for our double poly.
Mark,
What's that?
don't you want the middle line lined up with the rope?
Yeah, but I mean,
Close enough.
yeah, within an inch or two.
Another one there, right?
Another one right there. Because this is the shared, this is the double. Okay, this side's done. That's center. This is the double.
Pat, bamboo.
So what I'm doing here is I'm putting the center line tape mark on the bamboo on the rope line. This one here doesn't exist, so we just make a little bit of mark. I move the bamboo over here. That's where the rope would be if we were here.
Clockwise, just a touch. There you go, right there.
And we're going to mark one close on the outside. Then we're going to work this way. And we're going to, once again, put the tape.
Looks good.
We're going to drill 2 holes. This one does exist.
Oh, it does.
We're going to move over one more space. This one does not exist.
Up the hill. Up the hill. A little more. Okay.
And then we're going to do a single on the outside that does exist.
That looks good.
Yeah, that does exist.
If you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more mogul skiing content.
Okay, now that we have the course, we want to start skiing it in. And with our experience, we have found that starting in a wedge turn and pushing the snow at the poly builds a nice round bump. So what we're going to do is we're going to get everyone facing in a wedge position and we push the snow to the poly. You can see the snow pile up.
What we want to do is get mounds of snow near the poly or the flags, whichever you're using. And this is really the beginning of our Moguls. What you want to do next is to make some nice, slow, round, parallel turns. The key is to make nice, round turns instead of just skidding and piling snow up at the poly. If you just skid and push snow to the poly, you'll end up with a big flat sheet of ice and a mound of snow. It's not going to be fun to ski. If you make nice round turns, you'll start to get a nice dish. It'll start to get real fun to ski.